Paul, at Oracle, you recently discovered the whole world of social networking. Maybe you can tell us about that experience.
Yeah, someone gave us access to the web, and now it's over.
You're a little bit late, though, but it's good that you got started.
Yeah, it's interesting because the question that started all of this was how is collaboration, if you will, different now than it was? What's the 2.0 and what was the 1.0? And I think what's really interesting about it is where all of these tools were built very siloed and for a purpose. You built a document management system around documents or email around email. I think the big shift that we're exploring I have a lab called AppsLab where we kind of play around with all this stuff. What we're exploring is this concept of shifting that design point from either a document or a project or a task, but now to a person. And there's a lot of that conversation around people being the heart of this, but if you imagine one of the things I'm certainly going to talk about later is the social network we launched at Oracle several months ago. And the reason that's important is because the person is now the center of everything. And it's a holistic view of the person, which you could never get before. And you may have a reputation in your organization that maybe you have with your boss because you've shared a lot of emails or with a few scattered people that you might have been on direct project teams with. But now with this type of a holistic view in a social network that is connected to these other collaborative tools, you now get that full view of the person. You can see, for example, what ideas that I've posted out to a site we have called Idea Factory. You can see the ideas I've voted on and thought that were really good. You can see kudos that people have given me at work saying, hey, great job on this. You can see all of that information as well as other things like files I've uploaded. You now start to get a complete picture of me as a person. And I think that design point is the key part that really shifts from the 1.0 to the 2.0, and that's what we're exploring.
You started this project, a little social network, had 270 people online, and then 10 hours later you had 10,000 people.
Yeah, it grew. It wasn't quite that fast, but very close to those numbers. So what we did was we'd been talking about this idea of a social network for a while, and any of you who are in large organizations know how hard it is to get something built. So I was lucky enough. I have a couple people on my team who are developers and very savvy web developers. So they're CSS and JavaScript and all those types of technologies they're very good at. So what we did is we decided, we're not going to ask for permission on this. We're just going to build it. So we've all used things like Facebook and MySpace and LinkedIn, and we kind of came up with our own requirements and what we thought it should be. We built up a social network, and we tapped into our LDAP directory, so we pulled in, and also to our HR system. So we had LDAP for sign-on, so no one had to get a brand new password, which was big for adoption. What we also did is we pulled in the HR data. And so now anyone could go there and they could do things, right? They could upload a photo, they could add some more contact information, things like that. And to launch it, all I did was I sent an email. I sent an email to about 100 people. And there was, at the time I launched it, my team of 3, there was 3 of us on the system. About an hour later, I got a call from someone on a team and said, we're at 270 now. So we thought that was pretty interesting. When I came into work the next day, we were at about 8,000. So what you could look at was we have a bunch of data on the number of invitations sent by people and things like that. But leveraging that existing system of email essentially allowed us to push this new social network out. And now, I think it was after about 3 business days, we ended up with about 15% of Oracle's entire, about 70,000 people on it. And it continues to grow. It's not growing at that rate. If you saw some of the sessions yesterday, we kind of had this huge spike, and then now we've dipped down, and now we're kind of slowly going up. But it's very interesting, and we got a lot of internal attention, I think, from management wondering, what's going on here? How are you getting this level of traffic? Especially when you think about enterprise software, doesn't have the massive long tail that you see in consumer apps. So if you have a company, I think our apps division may have something like 25 or 30,000 customers. I mean, then you look over and say, well, guess what? We already got 15,000 users on our system, and we just kind of, it's running on a Dell box underneath my desk if you want to come look at it. I mean, it's a pretty different mindset for people.